I think it's working. It says I'm live. Good morning, everyone. I printed it out today. Sometimes when I turn on, oh, I get turn on. Be quiet. 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 Turn on. Turn on. Turn on. Sometimes you have to be smarter than the machine, and I think the machine outsmarted me today a couple times. Hi there, and welcome to this day in history for November 29th. November 29th is the 333rd day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, 334th in leap years, with 32 days remaining to the end of the year. Tomorrow will be the last day of November. Today's word is gaslighting. Apparently, it's one of the most looked up words for the year in 2022 on Merriam-Webster Online. Gaslighting. Gaslighting is the act or practice. I need a ruler to keep my place here. Sorry about that. Gaslighting is the act or practice of grossly misleading someone, especially for one's own advantage. The term gaslighting evolved from a 1938 play with a similar name. I believe it was called Gaslight. And the plot of that play was that a man was trying to make his wife believe she was going insane. One of his tactics was to tinker around with the lighting in the house and cause the house's gas lights to dim, and then tell her that, no, they're not dimming at all. What are you talking about? Encouraging her to think that she couldn't trust her own perception. When the term first came to use, that's what it meant, that kind of deception. The meaning of gaslight has evolved over the years, and the context has expanded a bit to mean psychological manipulation of a person, usually over a period of time, causing them to question the validity of their own thoughts, perception, or reality. Or memories, even causing them to lose confidence and self esteem. Usually, the goal in this activity is to cause the victim to become dependent on the perpetrator. Definition and use of term gaslighting has evolved even further in the last few years, but that's the gist of it. Ugly stuff, gaslighting. See here, okay. And since I have it printed, I can make that screen bigger. Good, very good. All right. With that, we're going to start with the birthday of Austrian mathematician and physicist Christian Andreas Doppler, born November 29th, 1803. He's best remembered for the principle known as the Doppler effect, which states that the observed frequency of a wave depends on the relative speed of the source and the observer. I'm sure that was a fascinating concept when he came up with it back in the 1800s, but I'm sure he couldn't have guessed how very useful and practical that the Doppler effect would become. I'm thinking right now of the way it's used in weather forecasting, for example, especially during severe weather events with the Doppler radar. In addition to that, he was also a professor at the Prague Polytechnic and published over 50 articles on mathematics, mines, and forests. Oh, wait a minute. I lost my place again. We'll read that one over. In addition to that, he was also a professor at the Prague Polytechnic and published over 50 articles on mathematics, physics, and mechanics at the Academy of Mines and Forests. Christian Doppler may have chosen an academic career because of his health. His family were stonemasons, but he wasn't healthy enough to follow in that tradition. chronically ill much of his life. He died at the age of 49 due to a pulmonary disease. Nowhere could I find exactly what the pulmonary disease was specifically, but he was chronically ill most of his life, so we'll just leave it at that. I know a lot of people died of tuberculosis before antibiotics were discovered, but we don't know that for sure. It just says a pulmonary disease. All right. 1969. Psychologist turned counterculture figure Timothy Leary had decided to run for governor of California. He visited John Lennon and asked him to write a campaign song based on Leary's campaign slogan, "Come Together, Join the Party." Word has it that John gave Leary a tape, and while there's plenty of material about Timothy Leary on the internet, I have not yet found an example of his actual campaign song. That said, the phrase "come together" was now in John's mind, and he went on to incorporate that phrase into a new song for the Beatles, which I'm quite certain would be very different from Timothy Leary's campaign song. The Fab Four began recording "Come Together" that summer, and it was released as the opening track on their Abbey Road album, September 1969. "Come Together" had no trouble making its way onto the Hot 100 chart, where, of course, it remained for the next 16 weeks, including a week in the #1 spot. "Come Together," along with "Something" by the Beatles, #1, November 29th, 1969. Link in the description. And that's all we have today. It's a short one. Thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share this video with a link in your email, messaging, or social media. Let's see here. Yep, if you enjoy this video, you can check out the playlist that contains others like it. And there's a link to that in the description as well. The description lives on YouTube, so for other outlets, I'm also on Rumble and BitChute. Not live there, though. This is the live, and we'll send it over there, the recorded version, once it gets finished doing what it does, rendering, once it renders. All right. I guess that's about enough for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Now we look for the thank you very much button, and thank you very much.